Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to No Name Gaming. Tonight, we are headed to the Great Midwest in the state of Iowa for the Online Motorsports Association's Virtual Championships first short track race of the season. We are live at the virtual Iowa Speedway for some tight racing around this 0.85 mile oval. There's been some really good racing so far throughout the first two races of the season, with several long green flag runs. However, tonight could be a very different story as we go to a challenging track here at Iowa. Turns 1 and 2 drive extremely different from turns 3 and 4. Turn 1 has some bumps that really can affect these cup cars and really just cause a lot of issues heading into the corner, even getting mid-corner. But that also means that people, looking at this track, people compare it to Richmond and the way it drives. You can think of it like a rhythm track, which means drivers that excel in long runs can really have a chance to thrive if they manage to get some of those long green flag stints. Minhang came out last week victorious at Auto Club and was also the first independent driver to win a VRC race. He also claimed his first career win here in the OMA VRC. Will we see another new winner tonight? My name is Alex Slate, and I'm excited to bring all of the action to you here tonight with the OMA Virtual Racing Championship. We have flag-to-flag coverage of the Corn Country 175. So let's go take a look here at the schedule for the season, just to give you an update on where we've been, where we're heading from here. So we had Auto Club last week. Like I said, Minhang got the victory, the first independent driver to be able to take the win, and then he is also he's the first rookie to win this season, so he gets his first victory, puts him in a good spot in the standings. But next week we'll head to Charlotte for the longest race of the season, 200 laps there, half the full distance of the Coke 600. And then after that, we go road course racing in Watkins Glen. We get a week off there for Memorial Day weekend, and then in June we go to Watkins Glen. Talking about the driver's standings, right now you take a look. Tim Moore now on top of the standings. He has yet to win a race, has finished in the top 3 twice, though. He was second place last week at Auto Club, and then was, third place last week at Auto Club, second place at Daytona. And then you got Drew Jewell behind him, Eric O'Connor, Ike Shelley, then Minhang, Thomas Green, Jarrett Talmadge, Jolene Sims, Tyler Glass, Ryan Miniker round out your top 10. And then going the extra 2 spots there, we have Kevin Yerguez, and then we also have Garrison. So outside of that top 12, we've got Mendez, Amodio, West, McDonald, Sipes, England, Runka, and Downey. And from the looks of how things are showing, I don't believe that Jeffrey Runka is here tonight, which is a very unfortunate thing. It's going to drop him down the standings a good bit. But like we said at the top of the broadcast, this track is a very tough track to drive, and some drivers really getting frustrated with it. Even during practice, some drivers were expressing their frustration about the track, how it's very challenging to drive. The car does not like going around. It's tight, it's loose. It really is just kind of unsettling with how it likes to drive. But moving on to the team standings, McGuinness Motorsports jumps up to first place after last week. They held a 2-point lead over OCM Racing through 2 races. Third place would be Planet Sim Esports. There's a bit of a drop off there to 13 points back. Then you have Ohio River Racing in 4th. And then we have HTC Racing Team. They're actually tied for 4th place with Ohio River Racing. In 6th, we've got Vortex Racing. 7th is Gavin Hudspeth Racing. Team Miscraft in 8th. Mid-State Racing in 9th, and rounding out the team standings would be All In or Spin Motorsports. So we are waiting for qualifying to finish. This week's qualifying is back to the 2-lap qualifying. So they tried the 1 lap. Drivers were not a big fan of it, and that the one thing, like the larger tracks, it works out all right, because you have a chance you can get the tires warmed up a little bit. There's a little bit more strategy you can use on bigger tracks to get those tires heated up. The short tracks, though, if we come out, we do a 2-lap qualifying, you really don't have an opportunity to get those tires heated up. You just have that one going through 3 and 4, and that's about all the tires get. Not a lot of opportunity. And so the 2-lap qualifying here definitely plays out a little bit better. You get a chance to really run the car out, get those tires heated up. We're looking right now at Drew Juba, winner of the Daytona 250, taking his qualifying lap. He gets down into turn 1, and this is where things are going to be really interesting to see how drivers take turn 1. Some drivers, as we see Drew there, hugs the bottom line. Some drivers go for a late apex. 3 and 4 is where it's really going to be interesting, because there's about 3 or 4 different lines you can take through turns 3 and 4. When you see Drew go right below that bottom seam coming across a line. Right now he is currently sitting in 8th place, but we'll get the whole rundown on the grid here in just a moment. But it looks like Jolene Sims is going to be your pole sitter here tonight. We'll get the whole grid in just a moment once they start getting into the pits. Hopefully you guys are all having a wonderful night here tonight. Oh, hang on, we had a little bit of blip there. All right. So, let's go through our starting lineup. Starting with Jolene Sims. So Jolene Sims is on the pole with a 23.49. Barely behind her would be Tim Moore, only 5 thousandths of a second off. Then we go back to third place is Isaac Shelley and Thomas Green. In the third row, we have JT Sipes and Min Hang. Fourth row, Eric O'Connor and Drew Juba. And in the fifth row, rounding out the top 10 is Jarrett Talmadge and Kevin Yerguez. Going outside of the top 10, we have Kyle England and Ryan Miniker. Row 7 would be Jonathan Amodio and Austin Mangold. Row 8 will be Jared Newton and Colin Teague. Row 9 is Jonathan West and Tyler Glass. Rounding out the top 20, we have Tyler McDonald and Ethan DeWeld. Going outside of the top 20 in row 11, Brandon Schulenberger and Brad Quall Sr. Then we have James Mendez and Jeffrey Runka. So Jeffrey Runka did end up making the field. He wasn't sure if he was going to race, wasn't feeling very confident in the car pre-race. So glad to see him here on the grid. And then in 25th, rounding out our field for tonight is Greg Corte. So we've got 175 laps here at Iowa, so we're going to see how things go. It's going to be tough, but they do have a custom setup to help a little bit here tonight. They are running a custom set, and they made it a bit tighter than what the car originally was running. And so hopefully that'll assist some of these drivers who are having some trouble with it. But we'll have to wait and see how things go as the race runs on. It's going to be a really tough race, especially if we get some green flag runs, because this car is going to definitely run really, really interesting over the course of a long run. So hopefully you guys are all excited for the green flag action. We're getting ready to go green. Just one pace lap here. Even though it is a short track, you would think it'd be 2. But that's all right. And we just got the call over the radio. Halfway is going to be lap 88. That's when they will take stage points here tonight. So here we go. We are at Iowa Speedway. Oh, never mind. I thought the lights were off and we were going to go green. Apparently not. It is 2 laps pacing. My apologies there. For those of you here in chat, if you would like to get updated live timing along with what you see here on the broadcast, you can hit the pinned message on the Twitch chat, and that'll give you the live iRacing timing that we're looking at here for the broadcast. You can see everything from last time they pit to lap times to how far they moved up and down the grid, all sorts of things like that. $25 cars on the field tonight. Who's going to be able to survive and take the win? And will we have a new winner? So far, 2 races, 2 winners. We'll see if we can continue that trend, or if we're going to have a repeat winner with either Drew Jua or Min Hang. Drew Jua did win the last time they came to Iowa, all the way back in Season 5, so we'll see if he can make it happen again. But Benny, the pace car driver, is off. Green flag is out, and Barney the flagman is waving them green. Here we're green flag racing here at Iowa. A good jump there by Jolene Sims. She hugs that bottom and is going to get it all the way around. Passes Tim Moore, and she's got it comfortably. Ooh, a little bit of contact further back there. Looks like JT Sipes and Min Hang Sipes able to keep that car straight though. So Jolene Sims has the early lead. We go a little bit further back here. You can see JT Sipes on the inside, falling back as the outside line gets a really good run going around the front stretch. He's trying to get that car to get some speed, but he is losing a lot of ground on the inside. This car is just going right by him on the outside. Drew trying to pass him on the outside, and the 4 is going to be able to get around JT Sipes. As Sipes may be looking to go on the inside of Thomas Green. He's got about the quarter there. Can't make that stick down now. Jarrett Talmadge goes around JT Sipes, and he just keeps falling back further and further early on. He's got Eric O'Connor now on his outside. So early on, that outside line showing to be very, very strong. But how much is that going to eat your tires if you decide to ride that outside line? As you can see, a lot of these guys up further ahead of JT trying to get down to the bottom, but you can see further ahead now. Minhang trying to go the inside and try and get Isaac Shelley on the outside line. It's going to be a good run on the exit by Shelley. He's going to be able to defend that inside. No, he won't. You see Minhang, he goes in a little hard in the corner, is able to get that nose in, forces Shelley to the outside, but is not going to be able to make the move stick, as you see Minhang dropping back now, going side by side with Drew Jua, and Isaac Shelley really fighting here for third place, trying to hold on. And you can see that car not very comfortable on that bottom line. Part of the reason why that outside line is a little bit faster through 1 and 2. As you get down to the apron, there are a lot of bumps there, and you can see a lot of movement in the car, which will definitely slow down the pace. Drew Jua tries to look on the inside of 3 and 4, doesn't get the run. And we've seen that outside line can be really powerful through 3 and 4. Well, not the outside. It's more of like the mid line, not really the outside line. But now you see a good run there by Jua. He's going to go side by side with Shelley for third place into 3. And he should be able to at least stay side by side through the front stretch. Can he stay with him? Maybe another lap. He might be able to get the clear. Going to go way down to the inside. Minhang's going to make it an opportunity as well to go around Shelley. Shelley riding way up in the middle of the track. An interesting line. We haven't really seen anybody running that high through at least turns 1 and 2. 3 and 4, we've seen some drivers going a little bit higher. And it looks like Minhang's going to try and force it. Now 3 wide coming out of turn 4. Thankfully, Thomas Green backs out of that. Could have been a really sketchy situation. So they go into turn number 1 now, as it's going to be Minhang moving up to 4th place, and Thomas Green's going to look for his opportunity to go around Shelley here now. Thomas Green on the inside line gets a really good run on that exit. It's going to be able to dive down, and that seems to be the move. Early entries, be aggressive on the inside, and then eventually you're going to work your way up over the next course of a few laps here. We've seen several drivers make their way forward here just by making that move. You see Jared Talmadge is looking to the inside as well. He's going to try and make his move once you see Thomas Green possibly get around Isaac Shelley. We're going to see if that's going to happen, though. It's going to be Thomas Green going to the inside yet again. Makes a big move. Is not going to clear Shelley. As you see, Shelley gets that run. Good exit. Just got to be careful. That car is going to start running tighter and tighter on exit. You don't want to hit that outside wall. Will definitely mess up the steering of your car there. So, 3 wide further back here between Eric O'Connor, Sipes, and Jared Talmadge. Oh, Sipes is hit to the inside walls. Oh, he's able to save it along the apron. What a way to save that. Some tough racing there, and that's hard if you're in the sucker hole there by Jared Talmadge. He does the best he can to try and keep that car straight. Thankfully, least amount of damage for JT Sipes. He is now side by side with Kyle England, fighting right now for the top 10. We'll see if he's going to be able to hold on to that spot. He just has not had a great start here, as he has dropped back 5 spots at this point. Looking a little bit further back in the field, the battle for 16th. We've got Tyler McDonald currently holding on just barely over Schulenberger and West. Yeah, Tyler Glass also right in front of them. A move here by Jonathan West on the inside is going to try and make something happen. Big dive as he's going to try and get around McDonald and Schulenberger all in one fell swoop. Just can't get that exit speed, and that's where that inside line really struggles through 3 and 4. You don't get that exit speed. That outside line is able to really carry some speed, especially with that oval-shaped front stretch, and that really helps those guys on the outside line. But we'll see as the run goes. I mean, it's going to start to get tighter and tighter And depending on how you drive it, those back tires might get looser and looser. Good move by Schulenberger, though. He gets around Jonathan West, is able to get in front, and that's going to lock him into 15th. We'll see if he's going to be able to hunt down Tyler Glass. But that's 6 spots gained right now here for Schulenberger. Right now, our biggest mover of the day. Going further back up the field, we take a look at Drew Jua, who's moved up a good bit. He's up 5 spots himself. Started back in 8th place, is now trying to hunt down teammate Tim Moore, and actually your points leader as well. He's slowly closing in. Each lap is gaining about a couple hundred seconds a lap or so. But now it seems like that time has stalled out. But these top 3 really in a class of their own right now, as they all running about 24.5, a little bit faster maybe, just depending on the lap. But pretty consistent so far as they all that lap came around. You see 24.6, 24.5 from Jolene Sims, so she's pulling away from them just a little bit. Yeah, these front 3 really have just separated themselves from the rest of the field. Some really good running, so I would not be surprised if we see both Tim Moore and Drew Drew working together, trying to make sure that they don't fight each other, give themselves a lot of space, a lot of room. That way, they're able to try and catch Jolene Sims. And actually, it looks like Tim Moore is just going to get out of the way here for his teammate. Goes all the way to the outside line. He's going to drop in line behind Drew, possibly recognizing that Drew might have that pace to be able to go catch her. Dropping back a little bit here. We've got a good battle here. This is the battle right now for 6th place. We've got Min Hang on the outside line. Jared Tallmadge looks to go to the inside. Really tight there, almost making contact. Jared Tallmadge should be able to slide up. No, Min Hang is going to be almost there. He gets into the wall, trying to stick with it. A good run there, but that's actually going to force Min Hang now to fight further back here with now Eric O'Connor. Eric gets a really good run, and it looks like Min Hang might have burned up some of his tires here, trying to run really aggressive early on. You can see he doesn't have the pace on the front stretch. Eric O'Connor on the inside line was able to get a better exit. It's not often that we see that, and typically that's a sign that somebody's burned up their tires. You see Eric O'Connor gets a good run on the inside, and interesting seeing Sipes move up to the outside. That might be something we see as the run goes. Drivers moving up, trying to look for some pace. It's one thing you can see in some different NASCAR series, whether it be, say, the ARCA series. You can maybe see it in the Gen 4 Cup with this track. Some drivers really like to push the outside line closer to the wall through turns 3 and 4. You see Min Hang really going aggressive down the inside. Going to see if maybe he can make a move on JT Sipes, who tried to pass back. And he's going to not have success, unfortunately. And now he's going to drop back even further, as it looks like Kyle England might have an opportunity to push down on the inside here in turn 1. He's going to take that shot. He's going to try and even up. Not going to get there. Good exit by Min Hang. And that's going to allow him to pull ahead and at least hold on to 9th place for a little bit longer here. Coming a little bit forward, though. Eric O'Connor running that outside line. Sipes trying to make a pass. He's about to the quarter panel, trying to see if he can even up. Is going to try and push down to the inside. Good dive. Has a lot of momentum on that inside line, but is he going to be able to slide up and block Eric O'Connor on the exit? Is not going to be able to. So Sipes going to be even going into turn number 3. Can he hold on to that position? We've seen that through turns 3 and 4. It seems like that inside line seems to be the advantage now, while the outside line earlier had a pretty good run of it. The inside line now seems to be the preferred racing line now that we're 23 laps in. Interesting, though, seeing some drivers take really wide entries into turn numbers 1 and 2. And you can see, we'll see if we can see the next lap around. But on that high line up by the wall through turn 1, there are some aggressive bumps. You can see these cars really rocking through turn 1. If they ride all the way to the wall, we'll see if they take that again. It doesn't look like it, as both drivers coming real far down, trying to stay away from that. It's even still, I mean, like I said earlier, there are bumps down in turn 1 all the way down towards the apron, but when you look way up at the top, there are some really bad ones. The ones down at the bottom are nothing in comparison to the ones up top. Moving a little bit around the field here, let's take a look back. This is the battle for 14th right now. Jonathan West holding off Austin Mangold. Mongold, sorry, I keep saying that wrong. Sorry about that, Austin. This is the battle for 13th. Jonathan West has a slight edge here. He's moved up 4 spots on the day, but look out, Mongold has a good run here. He's been a little bit fast the past few laps, only a couple hundredths, but that's all it takes. You slow gains, you eventually will get there, but a rough exit out of 4 really drops off that pace. And you can see he has a really good turn 1 and 2, really smooth, really consistent. We'll see if he can have that again here in turns 3 and 4. Goes down to the inside, is going to try and get a run. Is he going to be able to have the push out? A little too hard on the exit, does make a slight bit of contact with the wall. Thankfully, nothing too severe, but in the meantime, we've got Jonathan West now getting closer and closer to Ryan Miniker. He's got a quarter of a second back, and they're actually closing in on Kevin Yerguez as well, or trying to close in on Kevin Yerguez. That would be for 11th place if they're able to close that gap. Jonathan West has had some really good pace here. He was 0.3 a second faster last lap. He was 1/10 of a second faster there over Ryan Miniker, so that gap is closing very quickly. But also, Kevin Yerguez dropping off a good bit. He lost 0.2 on Miniker there. And so we might have a battle here for 11th place between 3 drivers as we see Miniker looking a little bit to the inside. West gets into the wall. That's going to slow him up a little bit. Let's go ride on board here for Miniker for a minute. Take a look at how it looks from this point of view. As you see, he goes side by side, trying to go side by side with Yerguez. Is not going to be able to get that point. Down to the inside, he's got the quarter panel, but is not going to be able to stick it as Yerguez is able to get some good runs off. That's the big thing. He's running that higher line. While he's not able to get the pace into the corner, he's able to get phenomenal exits. See Miniker shaking up the line. Can he try and get that exit? He just doesn't have that same pace that we see out of Kevin Yerguez. Kevin Yerguez has really good exits. Really, he's got the mentality of slow in, fast out, and it's working out really well for him. So we've seen Miniker now. He's really trying to shake things up. Goes for the higher line. Is going to get into the wall there. And so he's going to continue to drop off a little bit by bit. And actually now Jonathan West is going to take advantage to Miniker trying to change up the line. He goes down to the inside, gets a clean pass through turns 1 and 2. And it seems like Miniker really struggling here. That car running really tight for him through the corners, especially those entries is where he really seems to be struggling. Is now we see Austin Mongold moving on up and now into, that would be 13th place. Sorry about that. Lost where I was looking there for what position we were battling for. Moving up further, though, Isaac Shelley has made his way around the OCM Racing crew of Drew Jua and Tim Moore. So now you see the two of them battling it out for 3rd place. But, I mean, there is a big gap here separating a lot of these front runners. You have over a second and a half between Jolene Sims to Shelley. You'll have almost a second and a half from Shelley back to Moore, and then further back from Jua to Green, it's about a second and a half. So it's really big gaps across this entire field. A lot of these drivers just settling in. Like I said at the top of the broadcast, though, this is going to be a rhythm track. You get into your groove, you settle in, you drive the track. Not as much battling other drivers. We've seen a handful of racing across, but a lot of these drivers just trying to control the track, and that's been the story here for today. You see Jua looking to maybe go around teammate Tim Moore, but honestly at this point these guys are just battling. They're fighting to just keep as much pace as they can, try and keep that gap from spreading out too much between them and Isaac Shelley. Jolene Sims, she is in a world of her own so far. All the way up in 1st place. She has been the driver to beat right now. About, I would say, 0.05 of a second faster than Isaac Shelley. But when you look back at the times of Tim Moore and Drew Jua and some of these other drivers, even in the top 5, top 10, she's at least a 1/10 of a second to 2/10 of a second faster. She has some unreal pace here and is just consistent too. It really is not dropped off too far from what she was running even just 10 laps ago. The tire drop off is pretty significant. As you see drivers, fastest lap times were about 23.7, 23.8. Now we're running 25.7, some 25.8. We're getting very close to some drivers even hitting that 26-second point. But let's go to some battles going on track here. We've got JT Sipes and Thomas Green still going at it. They have been battling for quite some time now. This is the battle for the top 5 for 5th place. There's you got Sipes on the inside line, Thomas Green on the outside line. And these guys just really putting in some good work here. Is Thomas Green. Last lap was a 25.9. JT Sipes caught a lot of ground with a 25.7, but now you can see the lines kind of balancing out depending on how you drove earlier. We were seeing some drivers getting really tight, but these guys doing a really good job of keeping it real steady, not having any trouble on entry, not really any trouble on exit, but Thomas Green is finally going to be able to close off on JT Sipes. Good move for the later apex, is going to be able to get in front of JT Sipes. That's going to lock down 5th place for now for Thomas Green. JT Sipes is going to see if he can maybe find another opportunity as he looks on the outside line, maybe see if he can do a crossover, get some momentum. He's not going to be able to make it work, but can he go for the early entry on turn 1? Is not going to look for it. Thinking maybe he would go for that move, decides to hold back though. He gets a good exit there, and maybe going to look through turns 3 and 4. Yes, he will. Goes down to the inside. Thomas Moore's got to give him that room. Or sorry, Thomas Green is going to have to give him that room. And they're going to be side by side on exit. But again, Thomas Green is going to have that exit speed, and that's going to allow him to get in front for the moment of JT. And he might be able to have the opportunity to close off that position again. But it seems like this is just going to be the battle going on over and over and over. They're just going back and forth and back and forth. Not really anybody having an advantage over the other at this point. But some just good, really clean, really solid racing. Thomas Green in the wall, though. That's going to allow JT Sipes an opportunity. Goes to the inside. Is going to get a good run. That's going to be a clear here for JT Sipes. But we're going to see Thomas Green have the exit speed. He's going to look. Oh, maybe to the inside. JT Sipes is loose on exit. And that's going to drop him back a little bit. But he's still going to be ahead here of Thomas Green. And should be able to at least get in front of Thomas Green on the exit. Will he choose to try and stay in front and go to that inside line, or is Thomas Green going to get that run? No, Thomas Green going to wait, bide his time a little bit, maybe set up his pass. We've seen JT Sipes set up quite a few of his own over the past several laps, but we are 43 laps in. Green flag racing. We have yet to have a caution. Some phenomenal driving from all of these drivers here tonight. They're doing a really good job of keeping everything clean. Let's go further back here. We've got a battle still going on, this time for 12th place. This is between Ryan Miniker, Kevin Yerguez, and Brandon Schulenberger. And Schulenberger has worked his way up a good bit now, 7 spots. He is our biggest mover of the day so far. Oh, bit of a check up there from Kevin Yerguez. Schulenberger, I don't know if he was expecting that much of a slowdown from Yerguez heading into turn number 1. They're spreading out just a little bit, but it's not for too long, as you see Schulenberger trying to see if he can get around the inside. Has to work his way around Brad Qualls Sr. But he's going to get out of the way nice and easy there. So Ryan Miniker takes a really wide entry, but gets a really good runoff there. You can see down in the bottom right-hand corner, the gap from Ryan Miniker back to these two drivers. About a half second to Kevin Yerguez, about 3/4 of a second back to Schulenberger. But these guys have really good exits, and that's where their advantage is. So yes, Kevin Yerguez goes in really slow on entry, but he sacrifices the entry speed for the exit speed, and that's what's going to save that right front tire as well. It's not forcing that right front tire to get down. He's able to save it a little bit more. But now we're seeing Ryan Miniker get some speed here. He's picking up the pace a little bit, trying to pull away from these two. And you see Schulenberger trying to see if he can find an opportunity to move up the field as well. As now he's closed into about 2/10 on Kevin Yerguez. Has an opportunity to try and make a move if he can close it up another 1/10 or 2 over the next 2 laps. But Kevin Yerguez is just very, very consistent, and that's where it's been trouble for Schulenberger. He just can't seem to close that gap. Every time he seems to get close, Kevin Yerguez is just able to keep running the way he has been, not really having any trouble, getting closer and closer. Moving up towards the front of the field, though. Taking a look, this is a battle for 2nd place. We're on board here with Isaac Shelley. Isaac Shelley right now holding on against Drew Jua. Jua about 0.3 a second back, but has closed in a massive gap. It was about a second and a half earlier and is now closed quite a bit. And it seems like Shelley is really dropped off, maybe burned up his stuff. Not sure what has happened here, if that's what the case is, or maybe he's gotten to the wall, taking some damage. But he was running really, really well earlier, but now you see Jua right in his back bumper. An opportunity for Drew to try and move up to second place. Can he get it done, though? He's going to look down to the inside. Is going to have the opportunity. It's not quite there. But give it another lap or two, and he's going to try and go side by side with the number 98. And not too much further back, you see Tim Moore. He's just about a half second behind these two. Some good driving here from Shelley, at least defensive driving, just trying to keep it nice and smooth, nice and consistent. He's going to block that inside as best he can, trying to keep Jua behind him. And interesting to see Tim Moore. He's further back. He goes way high. It looks like he lets Sipes around him. So an interesting move there. You see Drew go to the inside, is going to get that position nice and easy, and that's going to be second place for Drew Jua. But now JT Sipes is going to be knocking on the door of the 98. We'll see if JT Sipes is going to be able to make a move. He's been running that outside line. It's very interesting to see. Sipes was struggling a lot earlier. He was having a lot of trouble with pace early on. Just fell through the top 10 and almost found himself on the outside of the top 10. But now we see him. He's worked his way back up. Has done some phenomenal driving. Is now in third place and even catching up to Drew Jua. Last lap was a 25.8. That was 0.2 faster, actually a quarter of a second faster than Drew Jua, and actually makes him faster than Jolene Sims. Right now, your race leader. She has led every single lap and has pulled away from the field by 4.5 seconds. But yeah, that's a really interesting thing to look at, to see that JT Sipes has worked his way up the field a ton here over the course of the last several laps. Pit stops coming in, though. We've got some drivers such as Min Heng came into pit road. We've had Tyler McDonald, Colin Teague is not Colin Teague, sorry, Austin Mongold, Jonathan Modio has come in. So we've had quite a few come in for their pit stops. Isaac Shelley, one of them coming in, as well as Kyle England. Oh, Drew makes a sudden change there as Mongold had to try and maneuver that. So we'll see when our race leader will be coming in, as her gap has extended a lot now. 5 seconds is the gap she currently has over JT Sipes. Looking a little bit further back, Tim Moore, Thomas Green going at it for third place as it currently stands. We'll see where it's going to be after pit stops. You see Thomas Green is able to get around Tim Moore, and it almost seems like Tim Moore just driving very conservative. We haven't seen him push too much here today, although last week, if you remember during his driver interview, he did mention short track's really not his strong suit. He's not a huge fan of them. He's not great at them, but he's going to do the best he can, and we've seen him do some really good things here tonight. He's been running in the top 5 pretty much the entire race. So we'll see if he's going to be able to continue that whenever we get through the green flag pit cycles. Oh, and Sipes is sideways going into pit road. He's able to save it, but that is a lot of time that he unfortunately loses. That is a really misfortunate situation for JT Sipes. He ran so well to recover what he had lost at the beginning of the run, and we'll see how far that's going to drop him back. Hopefully not too much, but going back onto the field here, let's take a look. Jolene Sims all by herself, 5.5 seconds up over Thomas Green. Tim Moore has fallen off a little bit from Thomas Green, but now only a couple drivers have yet to pit. Your top 7 currently the only drivers staying out. It looks like Ryan Miniker now coming in, so we still have just a few that haven't come down. Mendez, Talmadge, O'Connor, Moore, Green, and Sims all electing to stay out. And interesting to see if the overcut is going to work, because the big thing with the run, I mean, yeah, if you can hold out as long as you can, maybe save fuel and stuff, you can cut the amount of stops you need to do over the course of the race. However, the other problem you run into by doing what you see Thomas Green and Tim Moore and Jolene Sims is the fact that these guys on faster tires are going to make up a lot of time, especially since they're in clean air. They're all in very clean air right now, minus the battle you see going on right here between Tyler Glass and Jonathan West. Let's go take a look at it. It's currently the battle for 12th place as they both go around Thomas Green. Jonathan West is not going to have a look on the inside of Tyler Glass. We'll see if Tyler Glass can be able to pull away from Jonathan West. West on 2 laps fresher tires, so you're not going to see that right away, but over the course of this battle you might see it happen. Tim Moore, Thomas Green, the only two still staying out on pit road. So green flag, pit cycle almost done, as you see the entire field almost lapped, but now some of these drivers starting to get their laps back, and this is where it's going to start to hurt those two. You're going to see them come back out after the green flag stop, way down the order. I mean, you think about it, Thomas Green came before this pit cycle all started, he was about 5th place. Tim Moore was running 3rd. Tim is now in the pits, and Thomas Green also into the pits. So we'll see how soon it takes Drew Jua to claim the race lead. But you take a look through all of this pit cycle, we have about a difference of, we'll say, 11, 12 laps between the first pit stop and the last ones, which are the ones who just came in between Tim Moore and Thomas Green. So taking a look at your top 5 here, we've got Drew Jua, Isaac Shelley, Min Hang, Jolene Sims, and JT Sipes. So a bit of a shake-up here. Drew has worked his way up the field throughout the course of the race. I mean, he was up to 2nd place before he came down pit road. Shelley was running really well, and then as the run went on longer and longer, those tires just were not working out in favor of him. But Min Hang, he just unfortunately dropped back. He had some really good pace early on in the race, but then it just kind of disappeared on him. Jolene Sims, though, has been the race leader for about the entire race, except for the time that she came into pit road. And you can see the difference there. It's a matter of 5 laps between when Drew came in and when Jolene came in, and he's got an 8-second lead. That is a massive gap that he currently has. Now, will she be able to catch up over the course of the run? Absolutely. But it's going to take some time. I mean, she currently is up to 3rd and was a 1/4 of a second faster on the last lap. So, I mean, there's still a ton of time that she has to make up over what Drew is currently putting down. And we can look further back there at how Jolene is running. He got around Min Hang pretty easily. But Min Hang also on 7 laps older tires than she is. So those tires are going to start to feel that wear a little bit sooner. But he did put on a decent lap last time. It's going to start to show, though, as we go further and further. JT Sub's going to try and make his way around as well. We'll see if he's going to be able to get that move done. Looking between the two that pitted last, though, Thomas Green and Tim Moore. Green currently sitting back in 6th place, and Tim Moore back in 9th. So you can see just how much of a difference that makes. That's a difference of 7 laps between when they pitted and when we saw Drew Jua pit in. And that, I mean, you see those 7 laps made a 15-second gap and an 18-second gap. That's a lot. That is really intense. But we'll see if they're going to be able to catch up. They've got a lot of time to go. We have another 20 laps before we get to the stage points. The stage points will be taken at the beginning of lap 88. And so we'll see if that's who's going to be on top at that point. A lot of different strategies out here, so we're going to see which ones are going to play out. Let's go back here, take a look at the battle between Sipes and Hang. Right now, Min Hang trying to catch up, but it seems like he's just holding on for dear life right now with these tires. They just do not want to seem to cooperate with him, as his lap times just seem to be dipping slower and slower. He's currently running 25-second lap time this lap. Or the last lap, he ran a 25-second lap time, and you're going to see Thomas Green work his way around eventually. He's got a long way to go, but he's slowly getting there. Let's go take a look at one of the battles going on currently on track here. This is the battle right now for 11th place. They've been going at it still. Jonathan West and Tyler Glass doing a really good job going back and forth. And Tyler Glass going to try and get a really clean exit here. It's not going to be enough to be able to close him into Jonathan West. And a good entry there from West gets him a lot of time gained. And that actually might be enough to clear him and really pull away here from Tyler Glass. Tyler Glass struggling for the pace here. Drops off a lot, and it's eventually going to bring in Brandon Schulenberger. But that will give Tyler Glass lucky dog position. As you see Drew Jua right in the background, the race leader is closing in little by little. Take a look here between Kyle England and Ryan Miniker. Almost some contact. You see England comes down right in front of Miniker on the exit there of turn 2. And these guys have been battling for quite a bit as well. They're about neck and neck when it comes to pace as they both make contact with the wall. Miniker, though, might be able to make a move into turn 1. No, he decides he's going to back off. He's going to sacrifice that entry speed for the exit speed as he's able to get that car all the way down to the bottom line. He's not going to be able to make a move, though. The consistency just being smooth. Trying to drive the track, not really worrying about as much the guy in front of you. That's going to help you go a long way on these tires. We've seen some of these drivers, like JT Sipes. He wasn't battling as hard. He was just kind of letting people around, dropping back, and eventually the pace came back to him. So we'll see if that's going to be the same story here for Miniker and England. Right now you see Miniker. He's trying to fight real hard, but Kyle England is trying to be real smooth. He's not really forcing too much, letting the car come to him as best that he can. Moving up further here, we've got a battle for 7th place. Three-way battle between Tim Moore, Jarrett Talmadge, and Eric O'Connor. And Tim Moore, he's the freshest set of tires. He came in on lap 62. His tires 15 laps old. Eric O'Connor lap 61 and Talmadge 60. So none of them really have an advantage here. And what a move by Tim Moore. Goes all the way to the inside. He's going to come out side by side with Talmadge. And that's going to allow Eric O'Connor to pull away a little bit. The rookie's going to have a little bit of breathing room as he closes in on Min Hang. And so we're going to actually have a 4-way battle here for 6th place. As Eric O'Connor is going to make his way easy around Min Hang. Good move there by him. And Tim Moore going to get that advantage. Going to pull ahead of Min Hang. And he's actually able to get the full clear on the front stretch. So now he's going to go down the inside and try and see if he can close in on teammate Eric O'Connor. He's going to have enough, though, to really close that gap. He's got a half second to go. And Eric O'Connor is still running very well, very clean. 24.5 for both drivers' last lap. So we'll see if Eric O'Connor is going to be able to keep up that consistency. We've seen Tim Moore be really good, really strong, because he was running up at the front, was running some good lap times to be able to at least keep pretty close to what Jolene Sims was running, but it wasn't close enough, as we saw Drew Jua and him falling off a lot earlier. Speaking of Jolene Sims, let's go check in on how she's been running. Right now, she's up to 3rd place, about 4 seconds off of what Drew Jua has been running. Let's take a look here. I went the wrong way with that. My apologies. Let's go take a look at how her lap times have compared to your race leader of Drew Jua. And you can see her lap times are fairly consistent. You see a little bit of drop off, and that's going to happen with the tires once you hit a certain point. It's like that 20 lap point. You start to really see that drop off, and some drivers even go for a change of line. But that last lap around, she was just barely faster, coming around lap 81. We'll see what that time difference is. And she's gaining about 0.2 a lap. Some laps even 0.3. So she's hunting down the race leader, Drew Jewell. We'll see if she's going to be able to continue that, though. I mean, that 5-lap advantage is really starting to show, but she's still got a long way to go, about 3.5 seconds to close up that gap. 5 laps to be able to do it, it's not going to happen, But, I mean, she's going for the long game. Right now, she's in position to get herself stage points in 3rd place. So it's a good position to be in. We'll see if she's going to be able to get it done, though. Maybe work her way around Isaac Shelley before all is said and done. She's been gaining on Isaac Shelley by about 2/10 a lap as well. So she's going to close in on him here. Battle for 2nd place is going to be getting really, really tight here very soon. But let's go check in a little bit further back here. Tim Moore, Eric O'Connor still trying to go out. You see Eric O'Connor has come back into range for Tim Moore. And it's that consistency that Tim has. Tim is one of the most consistent drivers on the track. Very smooth. And he's closed that gap a lot. Down to 2/10 of a second with Eric O'Connor. Coming out of the exit of turn 4, he's going to be pretty close, almost in range to make a move. If he wants to try and get 6th place before stage, he's got to try and make a move here soon, and he might use Brad Qualls to his advantage. Nope, Brad Qualls gets out of the way. Eric O'Connor is going to dive to the inside and block off that inside really well. That's going to allow Tim Moore to go to the outside, and right now you see the points leader and 3rd place in points battling each other. Down to the outside, Tim Moore is going to have a good run on the exit. That should be enough to clear him of O'Connor. And that will be it. Eric O'Connor going to fall back in line. Drew Jua, though, takes lap 87. And we see Jolene Sims actually works her way around Isaac Shelley. That'll be 2nd place for her. So really good drive here since she came into pit road. But that gap she had over Drew Jua that she was gaining, or Drew Jua, that she was gaining every lap, has kind of dropped off a little bit. But that's going to be stage here for Drew Jua. He will take the stage win. He'll take the maximum amount of points here at the halfway. Jolene Sims 2nd, Isaac Shelley 3rd. While we're at it, why don't we just go ahead and go through our mid-race rundown, and we'll go driver to driver. Give you guys a chance to see how everybody's doing here on track. So lap 89 now, Drew Jua is in the lead. Jolene Sims riding in 2nd place, trying to see if she can hunt him down. Going back to 3rd, we've got Isaac Shelley. 4th place is JT Sipes. In 5th, rounding out the top 5, we've got Thomas Green. 6th place, Tim Moore. 7th place, Eric O'Connor. 8th place, Jarrett Talmadge. 9th place, Jonathan West. And then in 10th place, we've got Kevin Yerguez. Kevin Yerguez is currently the lucky dog. He is in 10th place. I just one lap down. My apologies. Kevin Yerguez, sorry, after Kevin Yerguez, we have our biggest mover right now. In 11th is Brandon Schulenberger. 12th place is Tyler Glass, currently maneuvering his way around the lead lap car of Isaac Shelley. Going right behind him, the other car that is the biggest mover so far for tonight is James Mendez. He is also up 10 spots. Ryan Miniker in 14th. In 15th is Kyle England. And then in 16th, just now coming out of pit road. Not sure what had happened, why he came in. Maybe taking his full service stop. Trying to see if he can maybe push for one more. Making it a 3-stop is Min Heng. He's dropped back 10 spots from where he started, but he's going to have a lot of pace at this point. Jonathan Amodio in 17th, Colin Teague in 18th, Brad Quall Sr. 19th. And then cars that are currently out of the race are Austin McMongold, Tyler McDonald, Jared Newton, and then we have a few that did not start, like Ethan DeWeld, Greg Corte, and Jeffrey Runka. Why don't we take a moment here? We can crank it up, give you the sights and sounds of the track as the lights are, looks like they're just about ready to be turning on if they're not already, as the sun is setting. A transition race. I always love some night racing, and hopefully next week when we go to Charlotte, we'll get some night racing. But I'm going to go ahead and mute it for a moment, crank it up here, and give you the sights and sounds of Iowa Speedway. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that crank it up section. We've got now 8 cars remaining on the lead lap. Juju has been making really good work around this field, and it's really showed an increase of pace. This was not the same kind of pace we saw earlier between him and Jolene Sims. Jolene was really having a good run and separating herself by a couple tenths a second a lap. But now we see, even though she pitted later, that drop-off has hit pretty significantly. It looks like we might have our next round of pit stops as well as Tyler Glass coming down pit road. And they see him dip out of that battle with Ryan Miniker, but you still have Kevin Urguez behind him. It's currently the battle for 12th place. As well as in that crank it up section, we saw a battle between Mendez and Schulenberger, where we see James Mendez able to work his way into the top 10. So he's now up 13 positions from when he first started this race. And Ryan Miniker is going to pull away a little bit from Urguez and see if he can close up to Brandon Schulenberger. A good entry, a phenomenal entry. Oh my gosh. Close up a ton of gap. And he's actually going to pull side by side with Schulenberger. Schulenberger runs really tight on the exit. Dive to the inside, and that might be an opportunity for him to get the pass done. He's going to be about at the door. It's not enough. He's not going to be able to get it done, but he should be able to pull it off through turns 1 and 2. You can see the track position here, where everybody's at on the field or on the grid. Let's go a little bit further ahead here. JT Sipes, Tim Moore trying to work their way around. Actually, we're going a little bit further behind. It's not ahead. They're just right behind where we were just looking with Miniker. But Tim Moore trying to see if he can force his way up closer and closer to JT Sipes. Having to work his way around Kevin Urguez is going to slow him down a little bit. But we have seen Tim Moore about a tenth of a second faster for a lap or two. Gonna see if he can keep catching up. His pace about equivalent that last lap, but he also had to work his way around Kevin Urguez, so he had to compensate his line a little bit. That's one thing about Tim Moore you see. He is running a really wide exit compared to some of these drivers. Some of these drivers are really trying to keep it off the wall, so they're coming in a little bit narrower on the exit, and it's sacrificing some of that speed. That's where he's gaining some of that time, is on the exits. But his entries are also really good. He's able to get in on the inside, gets a lot of pace on the entry, and is able to get a great runoff because he sets himself up on the entry. Now they have to work their way around Brandon Schulenberger as well as each other, possibly. They also have to bear in mind the number 7 of Jonathan Modio, right behind them on fresh tires, as well as Min Heng, currently back there in 13th. So Tim Moore, not a great exit there because he has to watch out for Amodio. And now Sipes is going to be able to close off that inside line a lot there. And we have more drivers coming in for their pit stop. And this probably will be enough. Now, if you stop at this point, you take a full fuel well. Actually, it's hard to tell. Hitting a lap 110. 65 laps to go. It's going to be tight, but a lot of traffic coming through. Cars on fresh tires, Tyler Glass, Min Heng, and these two able to maneuver it beautifully, very, very, very carefully, because it got dangerously close there for a moment. Even Tim Moore coming over the radio apologizing for putting people in an awkward situation. But they're able to maneuver it to perfection and keep everything straight. And these two just keep battling. And at this point, I mean, when we get to about lap 115, these two should be able to make it on fuel. And actually, anybody that's out there should be able to make it on fuel. I'm not sure what the P is on the map, let me see if I can take care of that here. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. Wanted to get that taken care of. It was somehow bother me a little bit, but we see JT Sipes get loose on the exit of turn 2. That's going to be an opportunity for Tim Moore to try and go to the inside. He's not going to get enough of a run to look there. He is just biding his time at this point, waiting to see what's going to come to him. There's still plenty of race to go, and it's all come down to strategy at this point. Who's going to make the right move? Who's going to pit when? And we're going to see, it looks like, yep, Jolene Sims, Thomas Green, both coming in at the same time. They were pretty close to each other as you see them coming down pit road. So Jolene Sims is going to take a page out of Drew Jua's book there. He came in for the undercut last time. Was about 5 seconds back from where she was whenever he came in. And came out 8 seconds ahead. So she's going to see if she's able to jump him through pit road. She was about 8 seconds back coming in. So we'll see how that's going to play out. Right now, Drew has a very confident lead here of 12 seconds over JT Sipes and Tim Moore. And then you have Eric O'Connor a little bit further back, about 2 seconds from these two. Those are the only drivers currently on the lead lap, as many of those outside have already gone for their second pit stop here for the day. Drew into pit road, so JT Sipes will assume the race lead. I'm not sure if that got him the lap led. It was pretty close when he crossed the line and when he passed Drew. Would not be surprised if he stays out for another lap. But Tim, this is his time to try and make a move. And we'll see if he's going to go for it. Still a handful of cars that have stayed out. Those cars being Sipes, Moore, O'Connor, Mendez, Miniker, and Schulenberger. Outside of those few, everybody else is coming to pit road for their second pit stop of the night. And still, amazingly, it's one thing that we've been saying throughout this series. The first few races very clean. We had long green flags, long green flag runs, and here we are tonight. 119 laps, green flag racing. We have had zero issues. A couple close calls here and there, and a couple maybe brown pants moments, but some really good racing all around that has resulted in long green flag runs, and you love to see it from the field. Tim Moore is going to take the lead. He'll take that opportunity to get some points here as the race leader. JT Sipes diving on in. So how much longer will Tim Moore opt to stay out? He's gotten burned by this pit strategy once already. He's going to continue to stay out here. So interesting move by the points leader. You would have thought after that first time where he got burned by the overcut, he would have decided and elected to go for the undercut the second time around. We saw that from Jolene Sims. Although we look at Jolene, she is way back. She's in 10th place right now. Now up to 9th place. We see a couple guys coming on in. But she is way behind Drew Jua. She is 11 seconds off. Her pit just was not a very good one. It was a 20-second pit stop. She spent an extra 6 seconds in pit road. Not sure if she overshot her box or what, but a lot of guys coming on. And Min Heng coming in again. Interesting move. Interesting call. Not sure what for. Min Heng came in at lap 88. You see him coming in again. So really interesting strategy calls here from the rookie. But he won last week, so he's in a pretty comfortable position in the points. But a win does not lock you in. That's the thing you have to remember through all of this. You still have to earn your way into the points. And actually, the thing is, I mean, your top 10 get in. And depending on if outside of the top 10 there are winners, as long as they're up close, they can get in as a wild card. Just something to bear in mind as we go throughout the season. But here's a live look at Jolene Sim. She is almost 11 seconds back from Drew Jua. So she lost about 3 seconds through that pit cycle. She took the undercut. It was only a 2-lap undercut, but it unfortunately did not benefit her. One driver who had some pretty good benefit through all that, the 3 of Thomas Green. He came in, was a good bit behind Jua still. And he comes out, he's only 4 seconds back, so a lot of time gained there. That worked out to perfection, as well as Shelley. Isaac Shelley only 3 seconds back. Now that lap time is going to continue to grow on him, though. His tires are 7 laps older than that of the race leader. JT Sipes works his way around Tyler Glass, and actually, something really interesting, sets the fastest lap of the race. So the track is getting colder and colder, which means there's going to be more and more grip here on the track, especially since it's been rubbered in now for 126 green flag laps, which is something absolutely phenomenal to be able to say. It's absolutely crazy. These drivers at a short track nonetheless, especially a short track that is very hard to drive in these cars, they've been able to run green for so long. It's a phenomenal thing to see. You love to see it. And taking a look further back, Tyler Glass, not much he can do against Jarrett Talmadge. Jarrett Talmadge has been a front runner all race long and is on 14-lap newer tires than that of Tyler Glass. And so we're actually going to see Glass go another lap down, go a lap down again. So now only 6 cars remain on the lead lap. Drew's going to see if he can hunt down and make it the top 5 on the lead lap. Could he potentially lap almost the entire field? That would be quite the impressive thing to see. You see Tim Moore now work his way around Tyler Glass, and he unfortunately is just kind of like a sitting duck at this point. Not really much he can do because he came in so much earlier than some of these other drivers. So Tim Moore found himself a lap down. Unfortunate situation for him. He's trying to see if he can work his way back up there. We'll see if he's going to be able to really catch up to where he was. But I mean, you never know. He might be able to get his lap back. But Drew has just found some phenomenal pace as the race has gone on. And you can even see in the gap back to Thomas Green. You look at the gap back to Thomas Green, and it's been growing as we go. At one point, I mean, Thomas Green was as low as 3 seconds away from Drew, but now you see that gap is up to 5 seconds, and it's been getting larger and larger. Eric O'Connor, Jarrett Talmadge up there fighting for what is currently 6th place. We'll go on board here of the 4 so we can see this battle from this point of view. You've got Eric O'Connor, who pitted on lap 121. Jarrett Talmadge pitted on lap 114. You can see Eric O'Connor able to pull away with that inside line, but Talmadge has been able to stick with him really well. So we'll see if they're going to be able to. Tim Moore gets his lap back and is going to make his stab at Jarrett Talmadge. And Drew, he just needs to mind his own business. He doesn't need to fight here. Has no need trying to push these guys. He's got a nice, comfortable gap right now. Getting almost to the 6-second mark. You can even hear he's not getting on the throttle all the way down the front stretch whenever these guys are battling. He doesn't want to get in any of that situation. He is just comfortable riding where he's at, taking the pace he has, and not really forcing anything. Talmadge comes down real far there, almost making contact. Qualls is going to work as a pick here, possibly. Talmadge going to try. Yeah, he's going to force Drew Jua to go down to the bottom. That should just be a pass here for Jua. No, it's not. Nope, he's not going to be able to clear quite yet. But it's not working in favor of Thomas Green because Thomas Green's still almost 6 seconds back. 5.5, 6 seconds back. So even through all this battling, just does not have that pace to catch up. Easy Thomas Green just all by himself. Shelley was about a second away, but then all of a sudden that fell off a lot. Yeah, Shelley now about a second and a half further back. You see him just barely pop into the blimp view. Just for about a half second. And so right now at this point, unless a caution comes out, this is Drew's race to lose. He has been running really, really well. And it's kind of crazy. I mean, you saw it was a tale of two races. He started off well, but just did not have that pace to compete with Jolene Sims. But now we've seen Jolene Sims, as it changes to nighttime, she's lost all of that pace that she had earlier on in the race. And it's just kind of disappeared from her. She was doing so well, and you hate to see how it's happened, but yeah, right now, Drew Jua is in a league of his own. Thomas Green, the next one up, but even then, he's still dropping about a tenth or two each lap. And then the next driver that's comparable to pace, you got to go a little bit further back in the field, but that would be looking at this guy right here, a 74 of Eric O'Connor. Eric O'Connor last lap around drove a 24.5. And Tim Moore drove a 24.4. But even still, with those lap times, that's only gaining them a couple tenths a lap. I mean, over JT Sipes that last lap around, that's 2 tenths a lap for Eric O'Connor. We can take a look here. Over the course of the last 5 laps here, not a ton of time gained for Eric O'Connor. Only about 4 tenths of a second or so, so it's not too much. But JT Sipes also running similar strategy to these two back here. Sipes lost a lot of time there on that last lap, so maybe maneuvering his way through traffic possibly. You see Tim Moore trying to close that gap, getting a little bit closer to his teammate. Might be able to make this a battle as we're closing in on the final laps, and we might have a green flag, a caution-free race. Wouldn't that be a phenomenal thing to see, especially at a short track? It's not something you see very often, but these guys have been running, like I said, very well throughout the race. Mixes of strategies. We saw Tyler Glass come into pit road, so he'll be able to make it to the end of the race. Most of these drivers should be able to make it to the end on fuel. That was almost a very dangerous situation as Colin Teague and Eric O'Connor got very close to making contact on the exit of turn 4. That's going to cause Eric O'Connor to close up to Tim Moore. And see an opportunity for Tim Moore to be able to try and take 6th place. Right now, it seems to be where these guys are going to be maxing out, because they really haven't gained much ground on any other drivers in the field. And you can see Tim Moore fast on entry, currently slower on exit than Eric O'Connor, but it all kind of balances out. Eric goes for a slower entry, tries to get that nose to turn in, and then goes for a faster exit. Although that exit, not great. Tim Moore does get into the wall, so any speed that he had for the exit to be able to run into the turn 1 got sacrificed there. He's going to try and dive in, pull up, but because he was so aggressive, loses some of that ground. Not all of it, though. He's in there still just ever so slightly. But is it going to be enough to be able to make the pass? Goes for the slider. Eric O'Connor's going to go for the switchback, possibly, or is he just going to let his teammate go? Looks like he might let the points leader and his teammate go by. So Tim Moore up to 6th place. It might possibly be that Eric's tires could be shot a little bit. They're about 25 laps old, so that's where we start to see some of these drivers struggle with wear. And a caution is out. Oh, I jinxed it. The first caution of the day. And it looks like it is the 92 of James Mendez. We'll go see what brought that caution out. It seems like he might have gotten loose on exit. He had an unfortunate situation last week at Auto Club. So here we go, going into turn 3. He's on that high line. Oh, no, he got a little bit of assistance there. JT Sipes pushes tight. Runs a bit wide and then is just, ooh, a little bit of contact there. It looks like it might have been Tyler Glass coming by here for Mendez. So now things are going to get really interesting as pit road should get nice and busy. Several drivers coming on down pit road. Some of those being Drew Jua, Thomas Green, Isaac Shelley, Jolene Sims, Tim Moore, and Eric O'Connor. JT Sipes electing to stay out of pit road. So really interesting call here. We'll see what that strategy's for it, what he's going for. Because right now, I mean, everybody's coming in. They're getting full service, fresh tires and fuel. They're guaranteed to make it to the end. They're going to be fast. So not sure why JT Sipes elected to stay out in this situation. And we'll have more drivers stopping into pit road. We'll have to see who all of the lapped cars opt to come in. JT Sipes comes around now, but not sure why he didn't come earlier. It's an interesting call because he's on the lead lap. Everybody else coming in is a lap down. Well, minus Jared Talmadge. So we'll see what's going to happen here with Sipes. He's going to drop to the end of the lead lap cars. It's not going to be a bad thing, though. I know Yuki the caster curse struck again. I literally, like, what was it? 5 laps earlier said, oh, we've been green. We might go green to green. That was just absolutely amazing racing, though, across the entire field. So, great job from them. But we'll see now. This is where things get interesting. We're going to go green flag racing with about 25 laps to go. And so, are we going to be able to keep it green? That's going to be the big question. Probably go around one more time here under caution. So actually, it'll be 24 laps before we head in to the checkered flag, or hopefully checkered flag. So far, though, each race has gone to overtime. We have yet to have a race finish without extra attempts. So we'll see if we're going to have that luck here tonight, or if we're going to have overtime. Regardless, it's going to be phenomenal racing because it's been some real good driving all night long. And make sure, if you want to catch all of the OMA coverage, you can head over to Twitter. You can follow OMA_league. They post all sorts of things, from links to the streams for all of their leagues, to latest news, to exclusive content, and more. So make sure to head over to Twitter on OMA_league. Also, coverage of the Online Motorsports Association is brought to you by Motorsports Today. You can head over there. You can check out Eddie Kalegi talking all about anything that has 4 wheels and an engine and goes racing. You can check that out Fridays at noon, from noon to 1 p.m. Eastern time, that is, and it's over on WRSU.org. Or you can check out the episodes on Spotify after the fact by checking Motorsports Today over on Spotify. We're getting ready to go green flag racing. Drew Jewell opts for the inside line. And for the first time, we're going to have a restart here. Kind of crazy that we made it all the way to lap 150 before we got our first caution. So here we go. Benny, the pace car driver, is going to bring it off. Drew Jewell leads them through the Geico restart zone, gets the push, and we are green flag racing yet again at Iowa. Less than 25 to go. Lap 152. Things are going to get really intense as the top 8 drivers on the lead lap. Everybody is on fresh tires throughout the field. Some drivers came in a little bit later than others, so we'll see what that strategy call was for. But it's going to be like that sweet spot. If we go green flag the rest of the way, we're going to hit that sweet spot where the tires really hit that drop off. So it's all about how much can you compensate tire saving for speed here in the beginning. Do you take that risk and you push hard early on in the run and then risk a hard drop off later? Or do you go for the saving at the beginning? You're not pushing as hard to try and have the pace at the end. We'll see whose strategy is going to play off. Right now, early on, we see Drew Jua have a phenomenal restart, up a half second over the rest of the field. In second place, out of all this, is Thomas Green, Isaac Shelley in third, Tim Moore fourth, Eric O'Connor rounds out the top 5. So far, everybody just falling in line. Nobody going for anything risky. Just kind of seeing how everybody runs. We've been spread out for so long. We haven't had tight racing, except for a couple battles here and there throughout the field. But take a look here on the nose of Eric O'Connor. You can just see what he's looking at in front of him. Lots of drivers, not a lot of room to move though. As you make a move, there's a very good chance you could find yourself just slide down the order. So he's currently in a spot. He's just going to ride this out and wait and see what comes to him. As you don't want to push too hard. Don't want to force your teammate to burn up his stuff for you guys battling, or for you guys to lose those guys in front. You also have to keep in mind, right behind him, you got JT Sipes. Sipes is right there, ready to pounce if he makes a mistake. So he's got to be constantly aware, head on a swivel, ready to go at a moment's notice for whatever happens. Tim Moore goes to the outside line here. Maybe opting to try and find some extra pace. That's going to work to help out Eric O'Connor a little bit along the front stretch, but it's not going to be enough. Eric goes way to the outside, and that's going to allow Sipes to seep on in and try and see if he can push his way into the top 5. Not a great exit, though, from him. Still going to stay side by side through 3 and 4. Eric O'Connor has that speed, and we saw this earlier from JT Sipes at the beginning of the race. He had the inside line and just could not find that pace to make passes. He dropped pretty quickly as he was stuck on that inside line. Many drivers opting to go around him on the outside line. But he's able to hold his own right now. He's right neck and neck here with Eric O'Connor, battling it out for 6th place. Just cannot seem to get enough of a run on the inside to be able to push ahead of Eric O'Connor. But all in all, that brings Tim Moore back to them. That's going to be a battle, 3-way battle here for 4th place at this point. Sipes gets a slight edge over O'Connor. It's not going to be enough. Oh, nope. He's going to push him 3 wide. Tim Moore in the middle here, 3 wide through turns 3 and 4. Minhang in the back of it, just waiting to see what's going to happen. Minhang is a lap down in the lucky dog position, so he's got to be very careful about what he chooses to do. Tim Moore drops further back here. Has an opportunity to try and push Sipes along, but is not going to make contact. Going to stay off of him. A little bit of a rough exit there for Tim Moore, and that's going to have him drop way off. But Eric O'Connor is still fighting with Sipes. This is now the battle for 4th place. Eric O'Connor seems very comfortable on that outside line, though. Be able to pull ahead enough. Able to get in front of Sipes. And at least he's going to hold him into 4th place for the moment. But Sipes able to make phenomenal runs onto that inside line on entry. And if he continues this, might be able to chip away at Eric O'Connor. But you have to be careful. I mean, he's burning up that right front, pushing it down on the inside so hard on entry. He runs tight on the exit, almost making contact with Eric O'Connor. Very, very close there. Trying to keep this one from going to yellow. They're doing a really good job racing. Trying to push for 4th place. He's got it there. Is it enough, though, to get in front of Eric O'Connor? No, Connor there on the outside, just about an inch or 2. Runs way wide in turns 3 and 4. Is maybe going to look for a run on the exit. We'll see what he opts for. Is it an opportunity for the switchback? We haven't seen O'Connor run the inside very much. He seems very, very comfortable on that outside line, but it looks like that's going to be that. JT Sipes runs away with 4th place, and so we see Sipes and O'Connor, or not Sipes and O'Connor, O'Connor and Moore are going to be right back at it with each other. They were racing quite a while earlier on in this race. before that caution came out, they were about the distance they are now, about 2/10 to 3/10 away from each other. Tim Moore trying to see if he can fight for that top 5 spot. He's had top 5s in both finishes, well, top 3s technically, looking to keep that top 5 streak alive at least through the first 3 races. So he's going to try and work his way around the rookie. Not going to be able to get it done. A little bit further back here, this is battle for 7th place. Jared Talmadge and Jolene Sims. And Jolene Sims, the pole sitter, had a really good first stint, and then past that has just not had that same success that she had at the beginning of the race. Not sure if something happened with the track, if it's the car, or just how she's running. The consistency, the confidence, just not there from what she had earlier. But at least trying to make the best of what she's got here. She stayed on the lead lap, is almost around Jared Talmadge. Can't seem to just get that car to stick on that inside line. And like we saw at the beginning of that race, that inside line, it's good, but the pace is just not the same as it is on the outside line if you're looking to pass. If you want to pass, the outside line's the way to go. If you're looking to run consistent, you want to run that inside. We saw that with Eric O'Connor. He was able to run the outside, just was not able to pass. Wasn't able to keep it consistent on the outside. That's why Sipes was able to get around him and is actually really pulled away from the two of them, as Sipes now about 2 seconds ahead of Eric O'Connor and Tim Moore. Some lap cars getting in the way here between Jolene Sims and Jared Talmadge. So Talmadge able to build himself a little bit of a gap as we close in at the end of the race here. Coming around, it'll be this time 6 to go. Drew Jua all up by his lonesome, but he's got a little bit of company of Thomas Green behind him. But Green, try he may. He can't seem to get that gap to close up much more than a couple hundredths of a second each lap. He's got to find some serious pace soon if he's going to try and catch Drew. Jua might be our first time repeat winner this season here in season 10. As now we go to 5 to go. Thomas Green still can't seem to find that pace, and Drew's going to hold that lead nice and steady. Further back, we take a look at Tim Moore. He actually worked his way around Eric O'Connor, so he's up to 5th place now and is looking to extend that gap half a second now. And so he currently is going to extend that top 5 streak if he can hold this position. Got to work his way around Jonathan West, and then it is clean air from there. 4 to go, though. And Drew Jua, currently your race leader. Can he get it done? Thomas Green just is ever so slowly dropping back. He just can't seem to hold on to that pace that he had at the beginning of the run. The tires, this is where the tires start to really hit, and that's what's hitting him. You can see it's dropped off a little bit. He's keeping up with Drew, but he's not gaining like he was. And that's where things are starting to hurt. You can say, we'll right on board here. And hear a little bit about how Thomas is running, and hear the engine get on. He gets on throttle, but it's hard to run it out there at this point. You push too hard, that's going to be in the wall. And interesting to hear, you have to shift here in the car. Just with how the setup is, not able to run in the same gear. And you even see there the difference between the two through turns 1 and 2. Drew able to get a really smooth entry, rolls at mid-corner, and then on exit has no problem. And here we go, white flag racing. Drew Jua is in the lead. He's got a 0.6 of a second lap. Can he hold on to it through the exit? Thomas Green gets really tight mid-corner, and that's going to drop him back a little bit. Drew rolls it through 3 and 4. Going to hold on to this lead. Here we come to the checkered flag, and we have our first repeat winner of the season here at Iowa. Drew Jua takes the checkered flag. And super consistent all race long. Drew had phenomenal driving. Thomas Green ran really, really well. Just did not have that same pace as Drew had. Phenomenal driving from Thomas Green. You cannot discredit what he did throughout the course of this race. Very, very well. He ran great. But the problem was Drew Jua was just better. He had that little extra pace, was able to get that little bit extra out of the car, and so we see Drew come away with the victory. So while he does some celebration, let's take a look at our results here for tonight's race. So the winner of the Corn Country 175 is the number 4, Drew Jua. He actually won back in Season 5, so he sweeps Iowa. Since the last time that we had Iowa, it was 5 seasons ago. So, Drew Jua, your race winner. Going a little bit further back now, Thomas Green, 2nd place. Isaac Shelley in 3rd. JT Sipes in 4th. And Tim Moore keeps that top 5 streak alive here in 5th place. Eric O'Connor in 6th. Jolene Sims worked her way around Jared Talmadge for 7th. And Talmadge finishes in 8th. He is at the end of the lead lap. Going to the end of the top 10, we have Jonathan West and Brandon Schulenberger. Outside of the top 10, we have Min Hang, Tyler Glass, James Mendez, Kyle England, Kevin Urguez, Jonathan Amodio, Colin Teague, Brad Qualls Sr., Ryan Miniker, and Austin Mongold. Outside of the top 20, we have Tyler McDonald, Jared Newton, Ethan DeWeld, Jeffrey Ronca, and Greg Corte. That'll be our top, our finishers here for tonight. And while we have a moment, let's go ahead and get in our race winner. Give me one moment here to pull them on up. So let's get Drew Jua here in the booth. Give me one moment here. Drew, do you have a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Congratulations on the win, Drew. This is your 2nd win here of the season. Actually, going all the way back to Season 5, the last time we came to Iowa, you swept it. So how's it feel to take Iowa yet again?
Yeah, it feels great. You know, that first run, I was really struggling to keep up with Jolene and Ike. And at the end of that run, I started feeling a little bit loose. And as the lights went out, I was really, really fast. You know, we played the right pit strategy and got super far ahead of Jolene. And by the time her tires evened out to mine, we started pulling back away. And I thought we were going to have the first fully green flag run in a very long time. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. But I was worried. I didn't have the short run that Thomas and Ike had, but we were able to save enough at the end just to pull off Thomas at the end there.
Yeah, I mean, you had a phenomenal run. It was super consistent was just the name of the game, and this track is a rhythm track, so you want to build that consistency, especially over those green flag runs. But what changed between that first and the second stint? Did you make any changes to your driving style, to how you were entering corners, exits, things like that?
You know, I really pushed hard at the start of the run, and I was running that second lane because I messed up my qualifying lap and ended up qualifying 8th, and I wanted to get the track position early. And you know, we got up to 2nd, and then you know, people that were saving their tires earlier in that run started to get around me, and there I started saving my tires and realized that if you don't push as hard as if you don't push hard and just run consistent, it comes back to you. So we didn't push hard at the start of that second run, and that's really what helped me build the gap that I did. And unfortunately, we didn't go flag to flag, but one caution in a race where the setup was we were a little bit skeptical about the setup, but at the end of the day, I think that's the best race of the season, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. It was phenomenal driving. I mean, just a showcase to how well this league has run so far. But before I have you head on out and celebrate your win here tonight, anything else you would like to say? Anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, shout out to you for broadcasting as always. I love going back to watch these streams and the highlights. Shout out to Team OCM. It's funny, Tim was saying before I came in here that we like to switch places on the all-time OMA wins. He won the VHS race last night and overtook me, and I come back and win, and we are back to tied overall. So it's fun to have someone that I can compete against and so close against, you know, compete against and have them be on my team. And yeah, it's nice to win the second race of the season.
Well, congratulations on your win, and we'll see how you fare next week at Charlotte.
Thank you.
All right, so now we're going to have our second place finisher here tonight joining us in the booth, Thomas Green. We didn't have him last week for an interview, but welcome up to the booth here tonight, and congratulations on your second place finish, Thomas.
Thank you, man. Yeah, it was a tough race, a lot of fun. Weird setup, fun track. Just I don't know. I don't know if I could have had anything for Drew there. I thought for a little bit we did, but we just learned the line a little too late, and it took us about after halfway in the race to figure it out, and then we started really picking up spots. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you had some really good long run pace throughout the race. We kept peeking in on you. You kept gaining time over and over on several drivers. So is that something that you practiced, was a longer run, or were you focused more on that short run pace, trying to be able to be quick early and then try and just be consistent later?
I'll be honest, I didn't do any practice. The only practice I got was on the fixed setup before we knew we were switching the setups. So that was all kind of thrown away, and then and I only did like maybe 40 laps on that, and then I got in here late into practice, only did qualifying laps and didn't practice long run at all. So that was something I had to adapt to during the run and as we went on. So something I'm very proud of, that I can take the long run speed and adapt over time and start to figure it out. But it took a little bit, but we got it eventually.
Well, hey, for not having a lot of practice, I mean, that's phenomenal running. I mean, you qualified in fourth place, finished second. It's a good night there. So going last week, you finished in the top three. Tonight, you finished second place. Are we going to see the number 3 car in victory lane here soon?
I'd like to think, yeah. Wait, did we finish second last week too? So 2 seconds?
I think so, yeah. Back-to-back second places.
Back-to-back seconds is not bad. I'm happy with that. Very good, consistent runs over the weeks now, and I mean, I'd like to get in the victory lane. That'd be great. I think it's possible. It's just about finding the right combo. I can hang throughout a lot of these races, and most of them at least. And I think it's just going to be, like I said, just a good combo. Like next week, good track combo for me with the car is Charlotte. So maybe we could get in there. But then again, there's a lot of guys in here that are very capable of winning. So it's just about racing around them and learning them, and yeah, hopefully in the future.
Yeah, next week will be interesting because it's our first 1.5 mile intermediate oval. But before I have you head on out here tonight, anybody you would like to thank? Anything else you would like to say?
Just shout out to the best girlfriend in the world, Anna, for always supporting me. I love her, and she's always there for me, supporting me for the races. So big shout out to her.
All right. Well, thank you, Thomas, for joining us here in the booth tonight, and congratulations on your second place finish.
Thank you, man.
All right, so now we're going to pull in our third place finisher. We have Isaac Shelley, or as you heard Drew call him, Ike Shelley. So, Ike, congratulations on third place. How'd it feel?
First of all, fantastic. One caution.
Oh.
That's really cool. Like all three.
Hang on, you're cutting in and out a little bit on me. Give me 1 second here. Let me see if I can get that all fixed. Go ahead, try that again. I'm sorry.
You got me now?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay. Yeah, I was just good, fun, hard racing, and one caution through the whole thing. That's how all these have been, and it's been a blast. So, yeah, the night was interesting because I'm not a fan of this track. I never have been. So we were pretty good in the first stint. I thought I was saving my stuff pretty decent, and then they all just started reeling me back in, and JoJo was gone. He was flying, but yeah, it was just weird because like you feel like you're not really pushing that hard, but like I wasn't doing something right, obviously, because I pulled like the second half on Drew, and he started reeling me back in, and Tim and JT and Thomas and Jarrett and all of them started reeling me back in, and I was kind of hoping the top and 3 and 4 would come in a little bit more, but it never really did. So that was really unfortunate because I think if we could have got the top going, obviously you don't want to be the first one up there, but if we could have got the top going, it would have gave us more options, and I'm not really sure how it would have played out, but yeah, a third's like a win for me here. I'm so happy with it. Just not my favorite racetrack, and with how tight the car was, the setup, I'm really happy with third.
Well, and you ran well all race long. I mean, you take a look, I think the first back you dropped back was maybe like 6th place or something like that. But like you said, yeah, really good on that short run. And that's another thing I was surprised about. We never really saw that top line in 3 and 4 come in. That's one, when I come here in like the ARCA car or something like that, I like to run that line, or like the Xfinity car. It runs really well. But it was surprised to see not to have anybody really running up there. But looking at the last, well, yeah, those last like 20 laps, the only restart we had in the race. What was your strategy? Because you started in 3rd place, so you're starting behind Drew. What was your plan to try and get up there and try and compete for that win?
Well, I was thinking about poking it 3-1 if I had the opportunity, but I was right on Drew's bumper, but he got a really good start. And I kind of knew after we got off too, like my shot to win, so to speak, was kind of gone, because I didn't really have pace. I could hang with him for about 10 laps and then just start to pull. But I was just trying to stick with him as much as I could and hope that, like, Thomas would get desperate. I've raced with Thomas a long time, and he's aggressive and he's willing to put the bumper if it means a win. So I was kind of hoping he could reel Drew in and they get together, and maybe we could sneak on through and win it. But yeah, I was just doing everything I could to stick with him, but unfortunately, maybe if it was a 10-lap restart, things would have played out a little bit differently.
So what can we see next week then out of the 98 machine at Charlotte? Because I know you're pretty solid at the intermediate tracks.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely be a contender. I think it's so competitive. It's crazy how like competitive it is at the front of the field. You got to be like on it. You can't just have a point in the race where you're chilling. You have to like be focused the entire time, and it's awesome. I love it. But yeah, I think we keep knocking on the door. We're eventually just gonna win, and then we'll start winning. I like Charlotte, fun track. You got options. You can kind of push people in the bump in 3 and 4, and that's kind of how you pass them. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And then I don't really know what our next couple races are looking like, but I think we're running 200 laps at Charlotte, so it's gonna be a long one. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
All right. Well, before I have you head on out here for the night, anybody you want to thank? Anything else you want to say?
Thank you, man, for broadcasting these, because I watch them back, and it's a lot of fun to watch back. You guys do a great job at broadcasting these. Tim, Drew, everybody that runs this show. We've had a great first 3 races, and I really don't see why it can't go like this the rest of the season, because it's been fantastic racing. And happy Mother's Day to Mom and all the great moms out there.
All right. Thank you so much, Isaac, for joining me here in the booth, and congratulations on your 3rd place finish tonight.
Hey, man, thank you. Have a good night.
You too. All right. So next week, we head off to Charlotte Motor Speedway for our longest race of the season. But here tonight, some phenomenal racing. I mean, the first race of the season, we did not use an overtime. Only 1 caution came out. We almost went flag to flag. It would have been absolutely phenomenal, but it is what it is. Great racing all around. We had a nice little end of the race sprint, and we see Drew Jua come out victorious. But yeah, you heard from each of those 3 drivers, the setup made it really tough. The car was tight. There were moments it was loose. You really had to try and finesse it to be able to find that line. So next week's going to be a bit different. When we go to Charlotte, the car, in my experience, it likes to drive pretty tight on the long run. But you never know. It depends on if it's transition race, if it's a pure night race, if they're doing a day race. It just all kind of depends on track conditions and your driving style at the track. But with all that being said, we want to take a moment to thank all of you again for joining us here at No Name Gaming for the Online Motorsports Association's Virtual Racing Championship, Corn Country 175 at the Iowa Speedway. Congratulations again to Drew Jua for being our first multi-race winner here in the season 10. Be sure to join us next Saturday as we head off to the Charlotte Motor Speedway for our longest race of the season. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast tonight, and I want to thank OMA for allowing us to bring this race to all of you. My name is Alex Light, saying good night to you from the virtual Iowa Speedway. Thanks again for tuning in.